and welcome to the H2Meet Live Studio. I'm here with our first guest. Good morning.
Good morning. How are
Good
you
morning.
today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Could you maybe briefly introduce yourself to our viewers?
Oh, absolutely. Claus Nussgruber, CEO of Utility Global, an energy transition company, commercializing a technology today that is really helping existing infrastructure decarbonize, and glad to be here.
Nice. Tell us a little bit about your background.
So my background is quite international, born and grown up in South Africa, but German and Austrian parents. Moved to the USA in 2001, and then 2021 I was recruited, luckily, to run Utility Global, and it's been an incredible journey ever since.
Wow, so a really global career.
Yes, no, look, that's the fun part. Our world is an exciting place, and if you're privileged enough to get around, you really get to experience the color that humanity has to offer, and I just enjoy that.
Yeah, and there's so much to see and to learn out there, right?
Absolutely, every day.
That's fascinating. I heard that you also just gave a really interesting speech over there. Could you maybe share with us what it was about and maybe give some insights?
Sure. Having joined Utility Global, which is an innovative technology that we're trying to bring to market or working to bring to market and then really need to scale, I spent a lot of time thinking, what does it really mean, not just to innovate, but to successfully innovate? And this is where I came up, at least for myself in the context, the environment needs to be right. If we spoke about the invention of the automobile, if that invention would have happened in 1500, nobody would have known what to do with it.
Right.
Okay? So it needs to fit into the right environment, and the energy transition is a great environment to innovate into. The second thing is you need to be noticed. You need to make a step change. And that's what I call the disruptive moment, where the whole world takes notice that there's something new here that will improve our lives. And that's great, but that still could just be a flash in the pan, where you say a year later, whatever happened to Utility Global? And that's where execution comes in. And you really need to deliver, you need to scale up, you need to drive adoption, you need to just put it in everybody's vocabulary that if you want to decarbonize your existing infrastructure and processes, phone Utility Global.
So it just stay in their minds.
Exactly, that is what the speech was about. And I invite all innovators to really think about this every day, because this isn't just about us. We need a million ideas that get driven to market, and then the best ones will be the ones that we remember 50, 100 years later.
Right, those ideas will be the ones that will change our world, right?
Exactly. And we spoke about Carl Benz and the automobile. At that time, he was trying to build one automobile. I don't think in his wildest dreams he could have imagined what the company is today. But it has to start with a vision of basically saying, where could this be in 20 years, in 30 years, in 50 years? And if you let yourself be guided by that potential, I think all kinds of things become possible.
Well, speaking of this vision, what do you think will happen to this hydrogen sector? Because right now it's still pretty, I guess, small. Where do you see this going in the future?
So I think hydrogen has a key role to play in the energy transition. And the reason is multiple. Number one, there's sort of three ways energy is delivered today. The one is electric, we all understand that. The other one is by liquid fuels, gasoline, jet fuel, and so forth, we understand that. The third way typically today is with natural gas. And so hydrogen is a gas-based form of delivering energy. And it is a decarbonized form compared to natural gas, compared to heavier gases. And so it's the ideal molecule to use. The good thing with hydrogen is we've known about it for a long time. An incredible amount of hydrogen gets used every day around the world for refining, for chemical processes, for all kinds of applications. It's just never been used for energy transition purposes. So hydrogen is not new. Its use in the energy transition space is new. But we know how to do it safely, we know how to engineer for it, we know how to cost it, and as such it is a natural fit-in to whatever we're trying to replace.
Okay. So then the technologies we're seeing here, those are what is basically new.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So if you think about technology in the energy transition, there are sort of two things coming together. The one is folks are trying to use existing technologies and adapting them to an energy transition world. Steam reforming is a classic example. Electrolysis is a classic example. It's 100 years old, that technology, but it's been dug out again from old stuffy warehouses, from patent drawings, and revitalized because in the energy transition it has a real purpose. But it is sort of force-fitting an old technology to a new application. And you see that with electrolysis. It does what it needs to do, but it doesn't scale, it's expensive, and there isn't enough power in the world to drive it. The second part is new technologies that are particularly made for the energy transition. And the utility global technology is one of those. Okay, so the innovators thought, in an energy transition world, what is the right technology for it? So our technology is made for the energy transition and not force-fit to it.
Okay, that's fascinating. Yeah. Then what did you think about this exhibition, like the H2 Meet? Yeah.
We go to a lot of conferences around the world. Just last week I was at a big one back in Houston. But coming to H2 Meet for the first time, by the way, has been inspiring. It is well laid out, well organized, so that's the basics, but there's an incredibly positive vibe around this conference. You can notice it, it's palpable. And we've had tons of people come by the booth. If you haven't done so, please come and visit. But there is just this interest and this energy, and it is validating our engagement in Korea, because we believe that Korea will be a leading energy transition market, especially when it comes to hydrogen.
What do you think are the advantages that Korea has in this market, or what makes it special?
Well, number one, it's attitude. Okay, Korea says we want to be a leader in the hydrogen economy. As such, buses, cars, trucks, hydrogen powered, are heavily subsidized. Other laws and rules and legislation is coming to force biomass conversion to biogas. They're really making it happen. Yes, like any country, it'll be faster and slower and faster and slower, but there's a real drive here. The second thing is, I think energy for Korea is a really big deal, because all energy is imported. There isn't enough space for solar. I am being told the wind isn't strong enough for wind energy. So creative solutions are required that aren't only clean, but that also take care of the energy security issue while remaining affordable. And I think it is that culmination that just creates the right point in time in Korea to do business.
That's awesome. Have you met any other business partners or seen other companies where you were like, wow, they have something that we could work with or like partner up with? Anything that impressed you?
So here in Korea, this time not yet. I've spent most of the time at the booth. The traffic's been so heavy, I haven't even had a chance to walk around. But we are constantly looking for partners, because we don't want to reinvent the whole world. We want to innovate what our key technology is.
Yeah.
And then everything that's sort of been done before that comes around our technology, let's buy that from somewhere else. That gives you speed to market. So yes, we're definitely into partnering, and maybe before the show is over today, I can take a walk around.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I saw so many people who were interested in finding new partners and like connecting with new people. So there was definitely a lot of interest there. Another question that I have is, where do you see the difficulties right now? Like, what are the problems right now in this industry?
It is the perceived threat. So scientists aren't very good at selling an urgency. Okay. The world will heat by 2 degrees centigrade by 2050. If we're wrong, it's 3. Okay. Or let's go do something else. I need healthcare, I need a job, I need to get my kids to school, I need to go and do the weekly shopping. So it's about narrative. Like with the ozone hole, for instance, it was so immediate, so now, with an immediate drop-in solution for changing refrigerants, the whole world got behind it. But the energy transition is this long-term thing where people say, well, I've got time to worry about it.
Yeah.
And that's where it's, I think, important for folks like us who are really involved day by day to keep driving this agenda. The second thing is it's really important for governments to figure out where they want to pay for it. It costs more than not doing it. We used to throw green stuff into rivers because it was cheap. But then the rules came and said you cannot throw green stuff into rivers, and everybody's adapted to it. And nobody now thinks, oh my goodness, is everything expensive because we can't throw green stuff into rivers. And that's where we have to get to with the energy transition. So if you buy a pound of butter and it says 0 grams CO2 per pound, that costs $1 more than the one that has a high carbon emission, or the other way around. And I think the world needs to get better at those kinds of things.
Yeah, I guess with a lot of these technologies, you have to spend more money up front to then save money later.
Yes. Well, it is the cost of a rising temperature. When you look at the US military's strategic studies, they see climate change and global warming as one of the largest strategic threats because of drought, because of migration, because of refugees, hunger, and that, by paying now, we can avoid that later.
Right.
But let's see how good we are as a species to not only reacting to the immediate threat, but to the long-term threat.
Right, to think a little bit more long-term and
Exactly.
plan strategically.
Exactly. But to me, that's sort of the key challenge here. But as we travel around the world, there is a huge amount of awareness, and we'll get there, I have no doubt. The human ability to survive, to innovate itself out of trouble is significant. And as the pressure rises to do this, I think our innovations will also get a hell of a lot faster.
Well, let's hope so. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. That was fascinating and really interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and enjoy your last day here at H2 Meet.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.